Now we're on one of our last videos regarding the markers that surround, that are on top and below the letters, and today we're looking at Tanween. And the literal meaning of Tanween is literally means adding noon, right? Adding the letter noon, and in English they call it noonation, which is pretty clever. Okay, the making of a noon. Okay, the establishment of noon. So why would we establish noon? Tanween, double dhamma right here, double fatha, double kasra. Okay, once it's doubled, it means you have to add a noon sound at the end of it. So this is called qala. Instead of qalamu, qalamun. Instead of qalama, it's qalaman. And regarding the two fathas, it has to sit on something, so the alif is just a seat for it. Okay, and qalamin. Okay, instead of saying qalami, qalamin. Now, what's the grammatical function? The grammatical function is to indicate, is the opposite of being specific. Okay, it is being general. We call it ma'rifa, specific in Arabic, right? And nakira, general. Okay, so what you have options of saying al-qalamu, okay, the pen. Whether we put the dhamma or fatha or kasra, that has to do with grammar. So that doesn't have to do with learning the alphabet right now. You're going to learn that when we cover grammar. Okay, why we put dhamma, fatha, or kasra. But if it is a pen, some random pen, then I would say qalamun. Okay, a pen. All right. So that's the difference. So let's say I say the man, el rajulu, the man, right? Or a man, rajulun. Okay, so that's the function of the tanween. The function of the tanween is to make it clear to you, the reader, that what's being talked about is general. Okay, not a proper, or not proper noun is not the right thing, because proper noun is like John or Yahya or Smith or something like this. But specific is that it is general. If you have tanween, it's general. So tanween and alif lam will never, ever, ever, ever come together. Okay, you will never get tanween and alif lam together. They are opposites. Okay. Now tanween has another important function, or a role, and that involves tajweed. So we're learning the letters. Then there's grammar. Okay. Then there's morphology, which is how to make verbs, basically. And then that's all language. But then you have something that is tied to us, which is tajweed. Because why are we learning Arabic? We're learning to read the Quran. That's the first and foremost, and then to memorize it. Okay, to read and memorize Quran. This is the first, purpose of our study of Arabic. So, a lot of times, what we talk about language is going to be tied to the science of how to recite the Quran, which is tajweed. And tajweed involves how to connect the letters and enunciate those connections. And tanween has a huge portion in that. The tanween and the equivalent of the tanween is the noon sakina, which is this right here, the noon with a sukoon. Whenever you have a noon with a sukoon, okay, let's say you have text before and after, it's the same rules as tanween. In other words, how you pronounce the word after it, all right, or the letter after it, whether it could have four possibilities: idgham, ikhfa, and idhar and iqlab. Four possibilities, which we're going to get to in tajweed. This is just like a foreshadowing for you, or just giving you an idea of what's coming. That noon sakina and noon sakina and tanween are the most important rules of reciting Quran. How to pronounce those, and that's really the first indicator that someone has even a modicum, has spent even 30 minutes studying tajweed, is that they know these rules. Okay, so again, this is basic summary of tanween and what it is and what its function is, and now we'll try to look for examples of it as we get to our reading. All right, we had left off on Surah Al-Alaq. So ara'ayta, and here we have the hamza in two different forms. One is on the alif at the beginning of the word, the other, then you have ra with the fatha, and then you have alif all alone. Okay, ara'ayta. And there's a yet with sukoon, as we said, that they didn't want to see two long vowels with sukoon next to one another. So whenever you have a vowel with a sukoon, then the hamza goes onto the line. And that's a detail, again, that it really is. You can pick that up later over time, but for now, you can read the word at least. Ara'ayta, which means have you not seen? And last session, we did talk about the ta and the letter ta that has to be dry, and that's by putting the middle of the tongue on the roof of the mouth. Ta. In contrast, what is the common mistake is making it with tasfir, or like a whistling, like t-t-t. Okay, so you shouldn't say ara'ayta. If someone says ara'ayta, then he hasn't pronounced the ta properly. And someone might ask, well, what's really the big deal? And the answer to that is that these little things do indicate who is learning and who's not. And if someone's making mistakes like these, then you should maybe think twice on who you're taking knowledge from. Unless, of course, everyone makes mistakes here and there. But in general, having an awareness of makharijul huruf is very important. And it's one of the fundamentals that usually mubtadi'ah, bid'ah groups, or people who are more on the so-called progressive side, they don't care for these basics of religion, and you should be wary of that. In any event, that's not our subject. So ara'ayta is with a dry ta. Okay, in kadhaba, if he lies, all right, watawalla, and turns away. In other words, turns away from the truth, because turning away from the truth, ignoring the truth, is a type of form of lying. In that you're basically saying that you haven't heard what you just heard. Or worse than that, it's like a juhud, that I heard it, but I'm just not going to do anything. So a Muslim is better off to just admit weakness as opposed to trying to deny that they heard anything or that anything was said. أَرَأَيْتَ إِن كَذَّبَ وَتَوَلَّى أَلَمْ يَعْلَمْ بِأَنَّ اللَّهَ يَرَى. Alam, again, we're looking for Tanween here, but we can review other things. Alam, didn't he? Ya'lam, again, sukoon. And note, in the Quran, in this script, the sukoon looks like this. It doesn't look like a circle. So that's something you just have to note. That's one of the only differences between Quranic script and the regular Arabic script that you'll see in papers. Aside from the spelling, is this. The other one is the ya, the alif maqsura. Okay, the alif maqsura is drawn like this with the dagger alif in the Quran. But in regular script, it's drawn like a simply just the ya, okay? And the actual ya as a consonant is given as with 2 dots. All right, it's given 2 dots below it, and you won't see that in the Quran. Okay. Alam ya'lam bi anna Allah yara. Doesn't he know? Ya'lam, doesn't he know? Alam ya'lam bi anna Allah yara, that Allah sees. Kalla, nay. Again, that word. Kalla, nay. لَإِن لَمْ يَنْتَهِ لَنَسْفَعًا بِالنَّاصِيَةِ. If he doesn't stop, we will take him by his forelocks. All right, let's just focus on the reading here. لَإِن لَمْ يَنْتَهِ. If he doesn't stop, لَمْ يَنْتَهِ. يَا نُون تَاء هَا. لَنَسْفَعًا بِالنَّاصِيَةِ. La nasfa'an. And this is what we're going to call iqlab. You're going to see this later. Instead of the 2 tanweens, this is a tajweed rule here. Instead of the 2 fathas, you see that it's followed by a ba with a haraka, with a movement. So therefore, this whole thing becomes tanween, and the ba with the haraka becomes a meme. La nasfa'an bin nasiyah. Instead of la nasfa'an bin nasiyah, becomes la nasfa'an bin nasiyah. It's called iqlab, which we'll study in tajweed. Again, this is just a little foreshadowing for you. La nasfa'an bin nasiyah. An-nasiyah. Okay? The forelock. In other words, that hair that's in the front of the head. Nasiyatin kadhibatin khati'ah. Okay, you notice here that this is tanween, and this is tanween, and this is tanween. But wait a second, this is parallel, and these two are not or I should say even, and these two are jagged, or separated a little bit. That indicates for you that this one is going to be pronounced, and these, they're going to have ikhfa. Okay, nasiyatin kadhibatin khati'ah, and if you continue, it will be khati'atin falyad'u nadiyah. Okay, nasiyatin kadhiba, that's ikhfa right here. You don't pronounce, you put the tanween in your nose. Nasiyatin kadhibatin, and this tanween is pronounced kadhibatin khati'ah. All right, and if you were to continue, it would be خاطئة فليدعو. Another إخفاء as well. فليدعو نادية. All right, he's saying this forelock is a lying forelock. All right, that, in other words, when the talking about the forelock, meaning the aql, the intellect of this person, he tells lies and makes big mistakes. فليدعو نادية. Let him call his people. The nadi is someone's group, okay, or a place of meeting. So let him call on the people, his little gang. سندع الزبانية. Allah says سندع الزبانية. We'll call the Zabaniya. Zabaniya are the angels of the hellfire, the angels of torture. سندع الزبانية. سندع الزبانية. This is the wasla. Remember this wasla, what it means? It means that we just continue on. سندع الزبانية. كلا. Nay, again. No. لا تطعه. Don't obey him. لا تطعه. واسجد and prostrate. واقترب and draw near. Okay. Remember, command tense verbs always end with a sukoon. واسجد واقترب. Okay. كلا لا تطعه واسجد واقترب. And this is the marker for a sajda. When you see a line, this is the reason why there's sajda, is because of this command, wasjud. And this little, looks like a little alcove or a mosque, is also given this next to it, sajda, this marker. Okay, and it indicates that one should stop the recitation if they are upon wudu and make sajda. Imam Malik is unique in this, in that he doesn't consider any of these markers, the sujood of, this is called sujood at-tilawa, the sajda of recitation. That means when you recite this, you make the sajda. He doesn't consider any of them to actually be in the short surahs. He considers them to be mansukh, abrogated. Reason being is that the people will recite with them often, and for him the mufassal is from Surah Al-Hujurat onwards, Surah number 49, Al-Hujurat, onwards to the rest, to Surah An-Nas. He doesn't consider any of the sajdas in there to actually be sajdas anymore. They're all mansukh. Reason being is that people recite these surahs all the time, and therefore many people can recite them in the salah, and people following will not know, okay, or they will be unable to make sajda. They may be completely unaware, so confused and thrown off. But these are the surahs that people pray with all the time. So that Malik narrates that once the Prophet ﷺ arrived at Medina, and now there are many, many Muslims praying, he stopped making those sajdas, and therefore they are mansukh. That's the Maliki opinion. And as a result, there are only 11 sajdas in the Quran, whereas the other madhahib do not take that position, and they do observe 15 sajdas, and I believe the Ahnaf observe 14. Okay, if I'm not mistaken, I could look that up in my Sciences of the Quran book. Alright, let's stop that here. And next surah that we will get to, now that we finished Al-Alaq, will be At-Teen. Alright, Assalamu alaikum.